Nice and smooth, no burrs to cause it to sit sideways. So let's see how it fits. Not bad. Took more time to take the lathe apart than it did to make that part. I would say I have about 5 minutes in drilling, cutting, and sanding. Including filming. Notice there's some play in the holes down here. I want to snug up this bolt here. If I had this, pulled this away, and then I tightened this bolt up, watch this move. It might break this ear off. Remember, this is cast iron. So I want to bring all this stuff up and let to snug and let it settle in however it wants. Just lightly snugged. Bring those two up to lightly snugged. Now I'm going to loosen this and let it move if it wants to. Snug it a little harder. Loosen this. Get these nice and tight. And it may be, I was just a little bit close on the gear lash. It may be that tightening hard down against that brass shim will give me another thou clearance. When this lathe was made, there weren't Allen bolts and Phillips head screws. Think about hitting high rates of torque with slot head screws. Alright. Now to get this thread to start, let me show you my technique. It's a little bit tricky. If this engagement pin is here, it holds it a little bit crooked and you can't start the thread. So you pull this back and then let this float and find the starting point for the thread. There we go. I got to be careful not to damage this tumbler. Might be a good idea to take it off if you're not sure. I don't want to damage that tumbler. And tightening this bolt, yeah, it's not going to put any force on the shifter lever. That's good and tight. Let's see what kind of play we have with our parts installed. Here we have nothing. Here's, look at that. We did pick up a little more play. That's a little better than what we had before. That looks to me like about a perfect amount of lash. I got a little more on this side than this side. Let me make a slight adjustment to this shifting gate. I'm just loosening these bolts to kind of a snug position. There, I saw it just barely move. There we go. I want each side to have the same amount of play. I think this is a little tighter. To loosen the revert or the forward tumbler, I move the gate down. That might be too much. That looks pretty good. I'm just kind of feeling in my hand the amount of play. It's pretty even. There might still be slightly more here, but it's pretty even. I'm happy with that. Now let's put the rest of it together. I'm ready to go back together, but in doing this repair, there's something else I want to do here. When I try to set the gear lash on this gear, it's been a problem every time. Notice I have no lash here. Watch what happens when I move the bolts. See the gear moving in and out? And I speculate that there's something wrong with the threads here, and when I turn the nut, it's trying to twist the stud there that the bolt's on. This is the only one that really does this, so I want to take this apart and run a tap through the bolt, tap through the nut, and a die down the stud. See if I can solve that problem, because that makes it kind of a pain to set up properly. Slide this out. Wonder what they call that head style. Let's see what happens here. Boy, there was something kind of tight there. Might have just been dirt that I pushed out of the way. Seems to go on there okay. But it doesn't go on with the tap properly. It's my dad's tap handle, one of the things I rescued before we sold out his shop. Chasing the threads on nuts and bolts on these old machines has become a reoccurring thing with my projects. Yeah, I don't have as nice of a die handle here. Where's the hole? There it is. Shouldn't have to go any farther than that. There we go. Let's see if we've got any shiny spots on the threads or debris. Yeah, I see a little bit of debris in there. Might have been a marked thread or something. Let's put it back together and see if it adjusts more easily. I notice on these little squares here, the carriage part of it, it's a little bit rounded over here and there. This could be a source of our problem too. If it doesn't fix it, then heck, why wait? I'm going to clean that up now. This could be causing some camming in the slot. We'll take off any high spots that we see. A little bit chewed up, ain't it? These are a little bit tricky to get back into place. There's really not much of a way to hold the stud from the back, so you got to get a hold of it on this side. And once you get the bolt started, the nut started, you're pretty well set. All right. Let me set a little bit of play there. Hand snug this. That's about right. Now let's see if it walks in. Oh yes. Of course it walks in. Oh, no it didn't. No it didn't. Okay. I'm getting pessimistic when I got no reason to be pessimistic. So we got nice play there. We'll adjust this gear. This is my half-speed feed reducer here. Yep, we got a little bit of play there. I can sense that. Here's the compound gear. This bushing may be a little bit wore, but it's a lot better than the one I had in place. The other one that I have seems to have better conditioned teeth on it, even though the bores wore out more. A future project, we're going to bush the other one of these that I have. And actually I have 3 of these because I have 3 lathes of this style. So we will bush them all. Always when you tighten these bolts down, make sure everything's still moving properly. Now we adjust the lash at this intersection with this clamp here on the banjo. Call this the banjo. A little loose. Still think it's a little loose. Keep thinking I'm moving it, but I'm not. Let me adjust it another way. I'll leave this a hard snug. That's better. Awesome. It's time for a sound check. I could probably use just a slightly heavier oil than whey oil here. This isn't like something just a little stickier here. It's not grease. You never want to lubricate these with grease. Alright, if you're swift, you'll notice I forgot to bolt this on. Well, I've got it on now. And let's look at all my plays. Is there play here? No, there's not. There we go. I want to check all this out. A little bit of perceptible play here, although it's close. So let's start it in neutral. Let's go to forward. And let's go to reverse. Still feels a little grumbly, like I got something without enough play in it, without enough lash. That sound is right there. I can feel that rhythm in this. Okay, there's a little more play. Ah, that sounds better, doesn't it? I think it's sounding pretty good. Now the real test was when you would load it up. It was having to do some work. So let's engage the cross slide. The sound doesn't appreciably increase. Let's engage the carriage. If the sound doesn't increase. Let's put it in a gear where it's going to move the carriage quickly. Move the, yeah. Now you can hear it engage. And here's the cross slide. Wait a minute. That was all reverse. Let's go to forward. Cross slide and the carriage and disengage. I think it's quite a bit quieter. If you listen to this lathe and other videos, it was making quite a strong racket. I don't hear any substantial sound. I hear a little bit of rattling here. But it's all so faint that it doesn't really seem to matter. So there you go. There's some modifications I've made to my lathe. Shimming this bracket up and closing up the tooth clearance here is how I did it. The bolt back here has a lot of clearance in the hole that it goes through that holds this this assembly for the spider gears, for the forward and reverse gears. And I speculate that that is so that you can adjust this and get the play out of it. Now I haven't been able to find the existence of any factory shims for this, which is some indication that I could be wrong that it was ever designed to do this, but you know, why would they put that much play in a bolt hole if that wasn't their intention? And every other gear has a way of adjusting the lash except for these. So it has to be that this is expected to be shimmed. I recommend you make these modifications to your Atlas 10 or 12 inch lathes and get a lot of that gear train noise out. It's a lot quieter now. I don't feel like it's tearing things up when I run. Got a little bit of play in some of these gears. That's got a lot of play in it. I'll keep working on this. My future projects are to bush these. So when I get these bushed, these three in particular, I think it'll get even smoother running. Probably all of these lathes have been taken apart by an amateur at some point or another and put back together, possibly with shims that would have been stock here missing. I can't find where they exist in any parts lists. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I haven't looked real hard, but there has to be a shim for this because it's the only way to adjust the tumbler gear lash. Thanks for joining me. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe, and gives me the fuel I need to go on. And get your hands dirty. That's how you get things done on the weekend. Get yourself a nice machine, go to work on it, do a little something between projects to make it better all the time. Pretty soon it'll be good as new.